Wow! Wow! Hey, calme-toi!
Hey, toi, va donc!
Je sais, c'est gênant. Ça, c'est Karen.
That's part of an ad put out by Hockey Quebec aimed at the parents of young players, asking them to behave, and act less aggressively, because sometimes violent parents in the stands have become an issue that's cropped up at rinks across the country over the years. If you're the parent of a young player or referee, that likely sounds familiar. So Hockey Quebec hoping to change things. And Sarah Galashion's here to chat about that.
Yeah, so this is a Hockey Quebec specifically, and so all of these ads are in French. But whether or not you speak or understand the language, I think you can certainly understand the body language that you're seeing in these ads. There's 3 of them in all, and they talk about a number of things, but parents who are either cheering supportively or not cheering supportively from the fans, parents who are speaking supportively to a child after that hockey game, or not being supportive of them. And at the bottom of each ad, at the end, the people who are watching that ad are asked, do you recognize yourself? And, if you do, please address the behavior. The third ad, I want to play a little bit of it, but I'm going to set it up for you because, like I say, it is in French, and in case you don't understand, what it is a young referee who's dealing with a very fast-moving game, as we know hockey can certainly be, trying to make that split-second decision. And the ad goes on to say that the pressure that this young person is facing from parents who are waiting for him after the game, intimidating him, is leading him to decide refereeing is just not worth it for him. But watch that.
Ça, c'est Émile, il y a 13 ans. Il fait de son mieux. La rondelle est en jeu ou hors jeu. C'est pas important. Demain, Émile va sûrement abandonner l'arbitrage. Il a peur maintenant. Un des parents l'a attendu pour l'intimider dans le stationnement.
So the thing about this campaign, Ian, is there doesn't seem to be, a catalyst or major headlines that have been dominating, that have led Hockey Quebec to come forth with these 3 ads putting out there. But you really only have to, Google toxic parents and hockey to find out that, this is, it crops up as a problem, as we know, really across the country, and they're really hoping to address it.
Yeah, I want to come back to you in just a moment, but let's talk to somebody who knows about this firsthand, both as a referee and as a parent. Evan Singer is an officiating coach for elite minor games at BC Hockey, and his teenage son's also a referee. Evan, you feel this campaign should run nationally. Why is that?
Yeah, thanks, Ian. I do feel strongly this is an issue that continues to bring a negative light to our national pastime. I've been on every side of it, from being a player to an official, to a coach of officials, a parent of a player, and now a parent of an official at really the behavior just across the board, whether it's from coaches, from parents, is making it a negative experience for not just the young officials on the ice, but also the players. It sets a terrible example, and I think some parents just really need a wake-up call, and I'd include myself in that.
Yeah, Evan, let's trade stories for a moment, right? Because you may know my 2 sons, when they were, from age 12 upwards, were both players and referees here in Vancouver. But tell me a story of something you've seen, kind of atrocious behavior towards a ref.
Absolutely, and not even atrocious behavior. It's any sort of behavior towards our young officials is amplified, really due to the power imbalance between a 12 to 14-year-old official and an adult coach on the bench and adult parents yelling in the stands. My son was refereeing a tournament this weekend in Richmond, and he came home after doing 3 games as a referee and said, Dad, I think I just want a line from now. And I asked him why, and he said it's because the lines people don't get yelled at as much as the referees do. And that wasn't necessarily enough to turn him off of officiating, but the fact that he's making decisions about his future to avoid that abuse and harassment is really appalling.
Yeah, I mean, listen, one of the stories I can tell you, Carrisdale Arena, my son was 14 years old. I'm picking him up after the game. He opens the door to the alleyway and kind of looks out for a second. And then when he sees me, comes over, I said, that was odd. Why did you do that? And it's because a parent had come down to the ice surface, stepped on the ice, and when my son said, you got to get off the ice, the parent threatened him, said, I'll get you after the game. My kid was 14 years old. It's crazy. So let's finish with this, especially in your role as somebody who mentors and teaches young referees. What's it going to take to change this behavior?
Yeah, Hockey Canada has done a great job in terms of giving referees the tools to discourage this behavior through immediate consequences. Maltreatment is something that is focused on every year in our recertification courses to new officiating courses. Dan has really, contributed a lot to that program. But it's not enough. It doesn't do anything to address the behavior in the stands. And to be honest, it's really difficult to ask a 13 or 14-year-old to police the behavior of an adult on the bench. They're very hesitant to use the tools given to them. And to be honest, they shouldn't have to. It really should start with the adults being adults and understanding that youth officials are not going to be perfect. And they're just there to do the best job that they can. They want to keep the Hockey Canada officiating motto is safe and fair. All they're trying to do is keep the game safe and fair, and anything that gets in the way of that really needs to be taken out.
Yeah, so Evan Singer, I didn't ask for the shout out for my son Dan, but thank you for that. Evan is an officiating coach for elite minor games at BC Hockey. Sarah, my kids it's a generation ago. They're in their late 20s, early 30s that they were doing. So this is a problem that is not new, right? It's been around, and it's not just a hockey problem, but let's start with that, the fact that this has been an issue for a while.
Yeah, it's been an issue for a while, and this is actually not the first time we've seen creative public service announcements put out to try and deal with this. I mean, if you think back to 2002, there's a really notable campaign that was put out by Hockey Canada, and to the point that was just made there, it was a national campaign, and it was radio, print, and TV ads. And these ads, if you can think back, they flipped the role of the child with the parent. And so you had ads that were a young girl admonishing her mother for a tasteless meatloaf, a boy yelling at his dad over lame Christmas gifts, and in another case, there was a boy who was, heckling a pregnant woman just before a pregnant mother just before the teacher-parent interview that was about to take place. So clearly, you would watch them and you would say that's obviously not acceptable, and very much the similar tone to what we're seeing from Hockey Quebec. You would look at it and say, "Oh, do I see myself in that?" And that's not how you should be behaving.
Yeah.
So
yeah, hopefully those ads and this conversation will make some people kind of sit back and go, "Okay, that's not the person I want to be when I'm in the stands." And it's not just about hockey. Our records show that a young Sarah Galashan was going to be a soccer referee, but really found, you're somebody who can handle pressure, right?
Thank you.
Reports, national reporter.
I was 13, and I took the course, and it was soccer, to be a referee of soccer. And then there came the section where they talked about how you're going to, talk to a parent who has an issue if you've called offside incorrectly. And honestly, I was just when they described what might happen, and this was not hockey, this was soccer, and I bailed. It's the only job I've ever bailed on, but I never actually did it.
Kids need to have fun, and they shouldn't be yelled at, especially from adults. And we need young referees, right?
Yeah.
We need to have them in every sport. Okay, Sarah, thank you.
Yeah.